Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a fun show for you. All right, we're going to do a little report card. We're going to talk about the Vols, and they definitely unleashed on South Carolina. And I think Spencer Rattler had all he wanted last night. Good grief. Those Vols poured it on. We had the dark out, we had the uniforms, we had the crowd going crazy, and Spencer Rattler got terrorized. I mean, they chased him. They chased him out of the back of his own end zone at one point. I mean, they chased him everywhere he could be chased, and I think he was done. He was ready to get the heck out of here and live to fight another day. And I can't blame him either. His offensive line has done him no favors this year. That guy has really played well under the circumstances, and he got sacked 9 times against North Carolina.
9 times?
9 times.
Last night he got sacked 6 times. That's 15 in 2 games. They got to figure out a way to protect that dude because it's kind of getting out of hand. But let's go over the numbers and give a report card and grade our different positions and such. I think I want to start out with the running backs. Jalen Wright had a very nice game, 123 yards, a great average, and he kind of tore it up. And Jabari Small, he's always steady Eddie. Then you had Dylan Sampson. He has definitely got the moves like Jagger. He's just got an extra thing about him. He's so dangerous, especially if you put him in the second half and the defense is a little bit winded and he comes out there fresh. That's a heck of a 1-2-3 punch because Wright and Small will punish you, and then he comes out there and just darts. And he always ends up in the end zone. So the running backs had a great night, 238 yards. I'm just going to give them a good solid A across the board. The wide receivers, Squirrel White was on fire. He had 9 receptions for over 100 yards, longest one being that 50-yard catch, which was a great catch. And Squirrel was on the loose. Oh, yeah. They'll remember him. They'll remember him in South Carolina. I promise you that, because he terrorized them big time as well. Squirrel's tough, man. He's so small and so fast, but he's tough as shoe leather. He takes a big hit, and, man, he gets right up. It's the darndest thing I ever saw. He plays way bigger than he is. But when you run a 4.4 40 like he does, very hard to stay with him. And unfortunately, our buddy who was, Brew McCoy, man, he's such a great football player. That was just sickening to see him get hurt like that. We'll find out more about him tomorrow, but that was just awful. Everybody felt terrible. I still feel bad about it. It's just, we'll find out more coming this week. That was very difficult. But the wide receivers were rock solid. You know what? I'm just going to give them a good solid grade, just a good solid A. Now we're going to talk about the defense. The defense played fantastic. Let's start out with our guy, James Pierce, 2 sacks. That was great. That was fantastic. Omar Norman Lott, he had half a sack. Let's see who else sacked. Amari Thomas, Dominic Bailey, Garland, Joshua Joseph, man, I'm telling you, that's another beast out there. And the defense played fantastic. Half a dozen sacks, 8 tackles for loss, just played fantastic. Haddon had an interception, pick 6, which is great. I mean, that's the guy that last year got burned a lot with every other defensive back as well. But he had a big-time pick 6, great for him. I'm going to do it. I haven't been able to do this all year. I'm going to give the defense this grade. Absolutely, and I love giving out that grade to the defense. That is fantastic, makes me very happy. And Charles Campbell, our kicker, 2 for 2. He's been doing great, and it looks like our punter's getting himself squared away. He had a very nice night. But you know what? The most important numbers of last night is Spencer Rattler. He was 24 of 35, so his completion rate was fine. Only 169 yards. That is shocking. I mean, I am blown away by that. This is a guy that was averaging over 300 yards per game. And he had played Georgia, where he went 15 for 15 in the first half. He'd played against North Carolina, who was just literally, he was carrying them around and trying to pass. 9 sacks, and he threw for 350 yards in that. I fully expected him to throw for over 300 yards. I was 100% sure of it, and that he'd throw at least 2 touchdowns, maybe 3 or 4. He threw 0 touchdowns and 1 interception. It was a pick 6. That's the story of the game, is right here. That defense absolutely terrorized the poor guy. And he called it our Super Bowl because he had to downplay it, which is fine. Look, we beat him down. You could see in the fourth quarter he was done. And I'm going to just say this. I am concerned about that guy because, first of all, he's playing better than anybody in the SEC up until last night. He's not had a bad game since the last time he played us. So to see him have this kind of night is pretty special. He needs some protection from that offensive line. We destroyed that poor left tackle who was the freshman. He didn't stand a chance against Pierce and Josephs and those other guys. They were just swinging around there and running Spencer Rattler ragged. And if they do not protect him, he's going to get hurt. And I actually did a whole video after that North Carolina game. It's like, you guys have got to get somebody to protect him. This is a guy that's going to go first round to the NFL. There's little to no doubt of that. And he can't get any time. None. They've got to either move the pocket or they've got to start putting a tight end over there every time with that left tackle, or he's not going to make it through the season. And at some point, if they don't start protecting him, he may shut it down and say, you know what, I think I'll just wait for the draft. Because that's not fair to be sacked that many times. He's at like 23 or 24 sacks this year, and we're not even halfway through. I think Joe's been sacked 5 times. 23 versus 5. That's just, you're not going to hold up like that. They did have one guy that had that 75-yard run, which kind of shocked me. Other than that, they would have had nothing, but you got to count it. It counts. So they still had, 132 yards? But other than that one huge play, and it was a huge play, they didn't do squat on the ground. They ran for 58 yards or 57 yards other than the big one. So I think the defense did a great job there. And like I said, they only had 200 yards, and only 170 of it even mattered. That last 30 was just nonsense. And they had 1 sack. 1 sack. And we had 6. I can go ahead and tell you right now, if you have 6 sacks and they have 1, you're going to win that ball game. Because there's a reason why edge rushers get paid big money in the NFL. It's also a reason why they're so highly recruited, because when you affect the quarterback the way we did Spencer Rattler, you're going to win the ball game. So first of all, quarterback's the number 1 most important position. Okay, then everything that affects the quarterback becomes the next most important, whether it's wide receiver, offensive line, obviously edge rushers, defensive backs trying to protect against the quarterback and the wide receiver. It's all about the quarterback. So, like I say, Tennessee defense just really balled out. And I think Neyland Stadium, I got to give a grade for Neyland Stadium, and you know what that's going to be. Absolutely. Neyland Stadium and that crowd was an A+++++. It was fantastic. I loved it. I love a night game at Neyland. It's such an advantage. It's a monster advantage. And we took every piece of that. It was great. Everybody had a ball. And let's talk about Joe Milton. He was 21 of 32, so about 63 or 64%. He did have the 2 interceptions, which is really rare for him. He usually does not turn the ball over. He did have 1 really nice touchdown pass. He did not play great. He played okay. He played all right. He did not play great. The 2 interceptions didn't kill us, fortunately, but that's not like him. So I'm going to give him like a C or something, or maybe a B- or whatever. But I can't give him a great grade because he was just kind of average out there, but he was not bad. I want to make sure y'all understand that. He did not play poorly. And in the last drive where he had a chance to kind of put him out, he did. I think he was 4 for 4 in that last drive, which was really critical. So, when we needed him to play well, he did. And he started out really good again. And that's why I don't think it's pressure that's bothering him. I think he's got a leg issue, definitely, because there was several times he could have run last night and he didn't have it. He's got that knee brace on there, so obviously the knee's giving him trouble. He will have the off week coming up to rest, and hopefully that'll heal. But his leg did bother him. And also, if you get him off his platform, he's not very accurate. But if he's able to just go back 1 or 2 steps, and he's actually pretty accurate. And he did have some passes, a couple that were just right there, and the guy dropped them. So overall, a decent outing and good enough to win that ball game. I don't know if that'll be good enough against Alabama or Georgia, but it was good enough last night. And it's nice when the defense can carry you like it did and actually score points too. You know, we scored 41 points, 34 of which was the offense, 7 from the defense. And 34 is pretty strong, so I was real happy with that. And at this time, I do want to thank today's sponsor, which is Eco HVAC. They have 3 locations, which is Lenoir City, which is right next to Knoxville, Jamestown, and Dunlop, Tennessee. All 3 locations in the state of Tennessee. And these folks are huge Vols fans. They really enjoy this channel, and they reached out to me and wanted to do a sponsorship. And I thought, hey, that'd be really cool. And a little play on words there by accident. But anyway, look, when it comes to your HVAC, the older I get, the more important I realize it is. Because in the summertime or the fall, when it gets really hot and your HVAC goes out, it's just awful. It is just terrible, and it'll make you sick. So it's really important to keep it maintained and to keep it serviced. And these guys are really known for their speed of service, and they care about their customers. And they have a really nice special right now. The next 15 people that call, if you'll mention Sports Talk Jay, they have a maintenance special. And the package includes 2 visits, a 21-point inspection, and you'll also get a new UV air cleaner, the type that they use in hospitals, and you'll get that actually for free as part of the maintenance agreement. It's worth over $1,100. So be sure to check out Eco HVAC. Look, there are times you just need to call the man.
Just call the man. Just call the man.
That's right. Take care of your HVAC. It's really important. You don't want to get stuck with some big bill. The last time this was years ago, I decided I didn't have to worry about that, and I got stuck having to put a brand new unit in, 8,000 smacks. So take care of your units. It'll take care of you. And don't be like Aunt B.
Why didn't you call the man?
I should have called the man like you said.
Exactly. Just call the man. All right, folks, enjoyed giving this report card. This was a lot of fun. I've had this date circled on my calendar for about 12 months, looking for some payback. And I was concerned about Spencer Rattler. I really was. But the one positive thing I had going for me in the back of my mind was, okay, if we can stop Spencer Rattler, we can win this ball game. And I knew their offensive line was shaky, and our defensive line is strong. You know, we lead the league in sacks. They lead the league in giving up sacks. So I don't care how good your quarterback is. He can be Tom Brady. You cannot throw a pass if you're laying on your back. I know that for sure. So, and that's what happened to Spencer. And that picture right there of him saying, get me out of here, I promise you, that's how he felt. You get knocked around the way that he did. I mean, literally, we ran him out of the back of his own end zone. How that wasn't a safety, I thought for sure it was a safety. We came twice that close. We came 2 separate times to getting a safety, and we just barely missed it. But anyway, I knew that was such a good sign. When you run a quarterback out of his own end zone, you're dominating, period. And it also, I think it psychologically messes with the quarterback. He's like, do I need to go into the locker room for him to leave me alone? Yes. Anyway, if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Let's continue to cover my Vols and your Vols and all our Vols. And if you've not subscribed, it's on your right, my left. Just hit that little button. I would appreciate it. Costs you nothing, helps you get my videos. And right over here is my most recent video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. And we'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.